Good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Callers. I'm Father Doug and I'm here with,
Father Jesse?
and we are right up on the edge of a new year, the beginning of 2019. And so we thought that today we might share a few thoughts about the practice of making New Year's resolutions, maybe especially from a spiritual kind of perspective. So, Father Jesse, do you think that New Year's resolutions can have a spiritual dimension?
I think that they are essentially spiritual because I think that that's what we are, or that's who we are. The spiritual writers always talk about if you're not progressing in the spiritual life, you're regressing. And so it's always kind of our push forward to move our spiritual life in closer union with Christ. And I think that that's very important because New Year's resolutions are able to kind of help us begin something new. It's like leaving the confessional. It's like beginning a new calendar year. We begin again and we say, look, this is what we're going to strive to do, to push us forward into the to grow in holiness and wisdom. So
Helps us not to be so complacent.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I think about New Year's resolutions is that habits play a really important part in our moral life. You know, bad habits or vices and good habits or virtues, but we can really easily, as you're saying, Father Jesse, get complacent in our habits and think, well, that's just the way I am. But the truth is that habits have the ability to change. They can get weaker or stronger, and we can replace bad habits with the opposite good habits. And of course, that takes real work, but that should give us a sign of hope. If I've got bad habits, I don't just have to say, well, that's just the way I am, that's my personality. I can say, well, then I need to work on that and slowly build up the opposite habit.
Well, what is going to be your New Year's resolution?
Well, I've been thinking about a New Year's resolution, and I've been thinking that the way I'm going to try to be more disciplined about my reading. I tend to read like a lot of different books at the same time and keep jumping around and not necessarily finish what I start. So in the new year, I'm going to try to read one book at a time and finish what I start.
I think in the new year, as I was considering my own New Year's resolution, is to kind of carve out time for silence. I think we go in a very busy day and it's easy to talk to a lot of people, but we always remember that in the spiritual life, Christ talks to us in the silence. And so I think that that's a firm resolution that I hope to do. But one of the difficult things about making a resolution is not just making the resolution, but it's actually carrying it out. How do we kind of gain the fervor and the kind of to keep, by the end of January, we're like, oh man, this is
What happened?
This
My
is
New
what
Year's
happened.
resolution.
We didn't do this too well, did we?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing is that whatever it is, maybe it has to do with exercise or diet or other habits, all of that has a spiritual dimension. We ultimately should be trying to improve ourselves and to flourish ultimately for the glory of God, to be good stewards of what He's given us. So that helps us fix our mind on the importance. And then I think another thing is the power of forming habits. You start something like that, and it's really easy to say at first, well, I'm going to make an exception today, and I'll get back on it tomorrow. And maybe you will, but if you do that, there's a good chance that you won't get back on it tomorrow. So I think that thought helps you really try to keep your resolve during the temptations to cut the corners and think, no, what I'm doing here is I'm forming a habit. So it's not that important maybe in the grand scheme of things if I do my resolution today, but it is important because it's going to make a difference as to whether I do it tomorrow.
When I think about these things, I always think about strength, praying for the grace of strength to help us to, it's easy to fall, it's easy to kind of go back into the old way, but strength, the supernatural gift of strength, gives to us the gift of God to help us do what we need to do. And so that's what I'm going to be praying for this New Year's. So thanks for joining us with Coffee with the Callers. We look forward to seeing you in the new year here at St. Louis. God bless.